Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is July 15th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing good. I'm back. Long travel day, really long travel day. But you're hanging in there for me. You're staying up late to get this recording done.
Watching this soccer game, this late soccer game, Colombia, Argentina. I got into the soccer these last 2 weeks. Have some connections to Colombia. You know, there are a lot of fervent England fans crossover with the golf world we live in. I've gotten into Colombia. I've gotten into the soccer. There's just a lot of falling, though. There's a lot of falling. It's like it's nonstop begging of the officials. I like soccer. This isn't like a tough guy anti-soccer take. It's just the falling is so pervasive and nonstop, but it is fun to watch. It's beautiful to watch. I don't know if that's like a TIO scourge or pace of play scourge like we have in golf. But just I get it. They're running fast, but it just seems like guys are going down nonstop. Nevertheless, this game is ending. It's midnight local. This is going to be a quick one.
Is it?
I'm a little under the weather. We're going into the Open Championship week. You're late. You've been traveling all day. I think it's going to be quick. Every time we say quick, a minute 55 or like another quick one. But let's rip through it. There's so much golf. There's Scottish, there's Barbasol, there's LIV, there's a women's major, a senior major.
Barbie anymore.
We call it.
It's Victory Monday. Big Ern is making his case for President's Cup captain's pick here.
Hey, game within the game for Troon. Ernie Els versus Jordan Spieth.
I'm taking Big Ern.
He says he's he was just messing with some equipment, moving his ball position. He was way too forward. He's working on stuff for next week. Lo and behold, he just walks into a win at Firestone, his first senior major. And then, you know, it's just the stars aligning as you become, you know, I was driving this morning. I had the Scottish Open on in my car. And all of a sudden I hear your voice. My kids are like, "Are you on a call? Is this a podcast? Andy." And it's Chuck Schwab. It's the Chuck Schwab ad running, and they're all thrown for a loop. And here we go. Ernie Els, dominant position in the Chuck Schwab standings. The year you become a little darling boy of Chuck Schwab. It's all working out for you on the senior circuit. It's going well. He's won 3 times. And I think, you know, you have to acknowledge now that Firestone is a legit big boy course now that Ernie's won. I think you were in a precarious position today of potentially Zach Blair winning at Barbasol and Ernie Els winning at Firestone, where we'd have to really elevate the import and the significance and the bona fides of those tracks and events.
The only way that you could poke holes in Ernie Els' win, there's one way that you could poke holes in his win. Do you know what it is?
I mean, the one guy spit the bit coming in. They kind of handed it to
Steve Stricker.
Stricker was.
You guys are way off my scent. Players like Ernie make players collapse. When you're a dominant player, when you're a player that other players fear, players collapse. That's the way it goes. That's just the intimidation factor that Ernie Els could bring for a President's Cup team. This is what he could bring to the international team. You could see Scotty Scheffler quaking, you know, just collapsing. Where you could poke holes in Ernie's win is the thing that I look at that was a little disappointing. The spread was only 33. You know, how dominant of a win was
with
this?
An asterisk. With an asterisk. Oh, yeah.
Lumbering, the double A.
Stumbling, bumbling, Mark Calc, WDs. I mean, we were 26, I believe, or 28 at the halfway mark. And then Calc, you know, who has his health issues, good chap. Is he playing this week?
Yeah, I was going to ask, is he playing? Maybe it was WD and so he could get to Troon quicker.
I mean, at that point, I'm not puttering around with 28 shots behind with 36 holes to play. I'm going to Scotland if I've got a spot over there. I can't believe we're doing so much Champions Tour.
Duvall can't feel good. He's +6. +6 T44. That doesn't look good going into next week.
He withdrew, I believe, from this week.
He didn't. Duval's T44.
No, from the Open.
Oh,
he did?
Yeah, he bowed. No. So Tiger Duval is not game within a game eligible anymore.
Oh,
well, maybe he'll do Tiger Ernie.
Well, he's grinding. He's never been more focused. He's on the task at hand. He's grinding for the Chuck Schwab Cup points. This is just a distraction.
While we're here, should we do champion? What did you pick up, PJ, in the Champions Tour coverage you watched this weekend? You got any good stuff?
So I watched today, Sunday, and Saturday.
Oh, we watched 2 days.
I doubled up because it was so good today. Stricker, I felt bad. I had Stricker on my phone while I was watching the Euros on the TV. I was going back and forth. They were just really adamant. All they wanted to talk about was how the winner gets into the Players next year. That's all That's all they cared about.
Well,
they were hammering that home.
That's state run. That's like basically an advertisement. That's
Bob
state
Papa,
run media.
the wonderful voice of the New York Giants, was just hammering the fact home. The winner got into the Players.
I thought it was pretty funny. The Cookie Monster. I watched the little Champions Tour. The Cookie Monster. First question to Ernie: "You're going back to the Players?" He goes, "I don't know if I want to go. I don't like that course. He's like, I don't know if I'll take it." He's like, just shoots it down. Didn't want to talk about that little perk much at all. But
yeah, big standout for the Players. Already advertising.
Hey, PJ, I'm going to add to your Champions Tour minute duties for next week. I would like you to watch one commercial break and chronicle what kind of ads are running during championship.
Okay, well, I had in my probably 3 hours total of watching this weekend. I had
Look at you going above and beyond. It started as an hour, and you did 3.
I'm enjoying it. It was a good leaderboard today. These guys I knew.
God.
I recognized these names.
You're being poisoned. You're like, stop.
Well,
with this.
I had two Andy Schwabs. You spoiled it for me. That was going to be my punchline. But I had 2 Andy Schwabs this weekend.
Yeah,
that's good. We're hammering. That's the audience we're going for. We want that the people that are dialed into the Schwab Cup. We want the people that aren't watching the Scottish Open.
I was watching all random on Saturday. They were like ads for like a generator, like Patriot generating company. I was like, you gotta mark this down. What kind of shit they're trying to? Who's buying ad time during Champions Tour?
Maybe.
All right, that does it for
maybe we should try and get an ad into Champions Tour time.
It seems like we're in there pretty prominently. We give via Chuck.
I'm saying
right now, anyways.
I think we can make one.
Subscribe to the newsletter. Listen to the podcast. Yeah, we could do that. We're a high five.
Maybe that's an off-season program.
Golf Channel might not accept it.
Even if we never publish, if it never makes it on TV, we could still publish our ad.
Yeah. Speaking of South Africans. While we bounce around, the Frugalites, that became a hot topic immediately. We'll get to Bobby Mack here. I'm getting voice messages in thick Scottish accents. Friday night, somebody has just come in. Somebody involved, maybe a caddy, maybe a player, who knows? Players on the tour are delighted in Frugal Minute. Said 7:45, all the groups are in. Who do I see in civilian clothes? But none other than Fruga Fratelli walking out with the to-go box, multiple to-go boxes on Friday night. He had already missed the cut. He's taken one last swipe of the apple on his way out of town. Also in the Instagram comments, setting up a free haircut. They give free haircuts this week at Scottish, and they posted it to European Tour. They must have somebody over there messing with us, because the whole clip was him talking about his budgeting on tour. And then he's in the comments talking to the barbers, like, I'll see you at Royal County Down. So another gratis haircut in the locker room already lined up for September for Frugal Fratelli, who just keeps delivering on Frugal Minute. Also delivering was Big Shot Bob. By way of a sprinkler head gift, a real gift.
What do you think about the sprinkler head?
I mean, it's I have no fault of Bob. It's the breaks of the game. It's the way it goes. If you're standing on a sprinkler, it's antithetical to everything about championship golf and competition. You hit a shitty shot, you are dead. All of a sudden, I don't understand why there's a sprinkler head way off the fairway on a par 5 in the middle of waist-high heather. Like, what's going on there? Was it something else other than a sprinkler head? Was it like a control box or something? I'm just wondering, like, why is it there? In Scotland, nevertheless, shouldn't have hardly any irrigation out there, but this is a fancy new club.
Can I ask you a question?
Shitty. You go from dead to a 6-iron to 6 feet, pitching out. It's not the way it should be.
Do you think that a sprinkler head is like a dangerous situation?
No.
If your foot's on it?
No. I don't. I mean, he apparently had hard spikes or something.
Okay,
talk about the tap, tap, tap is how he found it. He never saw it. He just tapped into it. He's like, oh my God, what's down there? So maybe it's a little more slick. Do you think it's a dangerous situation?
No, I don't. I was thinking about this on my flight, and I was just, like, what? Why do I get, like, if your ball in your club is gonna hit the sprinkler head, and it could be like you could damage the head, or you could like hurt your wrist. I just don't think there's a real risk of injury from swinging because your foot is on a sprinkler head. And I'm just gonna call into question: is this like grounds for a drop? It doesn't seem to me like you should get a drop if your foot's on a sprinkler head. Like, what's gonna happen? You're gonna like slip and fall on your ass, or you're gonna like tear a knee, or like you're not gonna tear a knee from swinging.
You're going to get these athletes on you. They're going to get on you about the dangers and the mental uncertainty of having to do that. What about if the sprinkler head's in your line of play with like a putt or a chip or something? You get relief for that, or is that just the ground you got to play over? Are you getting relief for that one?
I think you should have to chip over it.
Yeah. I think that's more of a toss-up than the standing on it, But the standing on it, I'm with you. He gets out of it, though.
Like, I was thinking about this. It's like, if like my heel is touching a sprinkler head, am I really like at danger at all? Like, I don't think really you are.
He was taking a full lash from the heather, needed some power down there. It could be a dangerous situation. I
think you need to issue an apology.
Who does? Me?
Yeah.
For what?
To all the Big Shot Bob fans out there.
What did I do to Big Shot Bob?
I wish I had, pulled some clips from Ryder Cup.
Well, you were right there with me. Don't try to jump off the boat as it's pulling into the harbor. Get the hell out of here.
I was trying to just pin it on you.
He was shaky. Justin Rose carried his carcass that one day. Like, come on. He wasn't great. He's been great this year.
We both have to issue an apology. I think we were pretty emphatic that he was the worst player on the team and that he would not be playing on another Ryder Cup team. I think we did the thing of like, who's not going to be around, like who's going to be the least accomplished. Yeah, who's going to be the least accomplished player from this Ryder Cup team. Now the guy's got three national opens, 2 national opens, Canada and Scottish.
Yeah, it's been a great year.
Didn't he win an Italian too?
Yeah, he has one at Marco Simone, I believe.
He's got three national opens.
Yeah, good for him. He's a national open player. It was a great finish. The drop notwithstanding, I mean, that was the championship. You go from chipping out sideways to an eagle putt. That's the championship. He clips Adam Scott, who was all class in defeat. It was great viewing, great watching. I don't have any real quibbles. Like, I don't know, in a time when golf, especially this stretch of the schedule, feels like it get a little monotonous, right? It feels like, what are the stakes? What are we? I mean, Tyler Ray said it's charity after all. Like, what are we playing for? Like, I don't know. This one, there are quibbles about Renaissance. I get it. Locals do not. The Euros hate the late tee time. They despise it for the 3 p.m. finish in the States on CBS. That's just an observation. I get it. Like I get the give and take. I mean, it's probably to the tournament's benefit that there's a larger American audience either way. But it stands out a little bit unique, not just the style of golf. There's like real passion about winning it. There's passion about like the people who are there, the locals, the Scots obviously were all into. There were a ton of great articles writing from the ground today about the crowds there. It's just been significant and really delivered the last 2 years with the finish, with Rory against Bob and now Bob against Adam. Go ahead.
I think anytime, notwithstanding really like the U.S. Open, anytime a like person from the country of the National Open wins, it's just like a special thing, right? And I think
first
that's
time in 25 years for a Scot.
So. Big shot, Bob. Just hitting big shots. How about the putt?
I mean, it was great. 16, 17 footer. So he talked about how he had a tear in his eye before he had even hit it. He was so emotional and worked up. And he thought he left it short, but just kind of trickles in on the last couple of revolutions. Cool scene. It's just the kind of thing you're not going to get probably every week. As the tour goes to more no-cut events, more money, more just like this sort of late stage WGC feeling of is there real passion and meaning behind a lot of these events where guys are just like, I get like, I don't know, the Barbasol today had real meaning to a lot of players needing points. But some of like the no-cut signature, it's a great show, but you're not going to get kind of the significance and passion and meaning about it. And a worthy player won it, like guy who has played well and wanted to win this more than anything. That's not a major.
Also, I think like there's something about, we take for granted and we don't talk about how hard pro golf is in the sense that it for anybody that isn't from America. We don't really talk about it that much. How, like, there's seems to be a lot of backlash to the idea of the world tour from Americans, and it's like, well, like it's pretty nice to play pro golf as an American now, and MacIntyre. He struggled and he was very, like open about his struggles. He was homesick, and
done living in Orlando, I guess, moving back next year.
And I think like we don't talk enough about how, if you're an international player playing the PGA Tour, if you're like and you're not Americanized like Sepp Straka, you're at like a severe disadvantage playing. It's like hard. You're far away from family, friends. It is a different mental challenge. And like you're traveling, you're in a new country that you know nothing about. I mean, look at us too when we went to Northern Ireland this year. It was like, it was hard. It's hard to get around. It's hard. You don't know the cultures, like, so I just think it's Bob being open about it is a reminder that it is it's not easy to have success as a effective PGA Tour rookie, on the American centric tour. And it's cool he got this win at his home tournament.
Yeah, another kind of Americanized player, I guess, if you want to call. I don't know. I'll make it push back from that. Was in the final group with them, a rookie. Or rookie, is he considered a sophomore now? Ludvig Aberg. According to CBS, broadcast was getting, as he's a cool customer. Him and Adam Scott, two class individuals with cut a nice look, studly fellas, pro golfers. But he apparently was getting animated, a little upset with the pace of play. And like, I don't want to, like, Bob, it was amazing. 3 under or 4 under through his last 5 with a birdie on 14 was incredible. And then 18 and with the eagle from the drop, where they got to put a plaque now, like a Rory plaque. They got to put a plaque next to the sprinkler head.
You know what I liked about the plaque?
What?
Just was thinking that, whoever the plaque salesman was, good plaque salesman. Getting
we have too many plaques?
Getting Genesis on the plaque was great because, inevitably sponsorships always change. It seems like Genesis is a very committed and good partner, but eventually it'll change.
Yeah.
And then you got to get a new plaque. You got to switch it to just Scottish Open.
We almost had Adam Scott capture the Genesis Slam. His last win was Genesis Invitational. And he's, the first book of the Bible Slam. He was going for it today.
I wonder if anybody else has done the Genesis Slam.
I don't think so. I mean, you got Xander's won it last year. Rory, obviously.
He hasn't won it, Riv.
No, I don't think so. Good run in Scotland. But Aberg pissed about pace of play. Bob is deliberate.
We need more of that.
Bob from Oban. Bob from Slobin is what I came up with while I was watching, because he was just, they cut to him too early, and he's deliberate. He's deliberate and fidgety. So that's always going to be tough. Anything else?
As Rory would say, Bob can take his time.
What does that mean?
That's what he said about Patrick the other day.
Bob. Yeah, Bob. And Bob. I thought that was interesting that he got frustrated. So Alex Noren, Aaron Ryan, Dick Mansell are your 3 last Open qualifiers. Get in via the Scottish Open.
I gotta say,
Rye wasn't in yet. He's been playing great. Or Noren,
I gotta say, this podcast, I might have offended someone at our event this week because of this podcast's bit of Richard. Don't call me Dick. The Richard. Anybody that's named Richard, we call Dick.
Yeah.
Someone on our team was named Richard. I said it. I was reading off the pairings for this event, and I said, Richard, don't call me Dick. Last name.
I think to feel that out in a situation.
The look I got back was not. I then was like, okay, I shouldn't have said that.
I mean, it's 2024. You've been living with that for a while now. At this point, I guess. I don't know.
It's almost a habit.
Yeah.
Anytime I see the name Richard, I just think Dick.
Yep. A great watch. A lot of fun short game shots. The gala was great to watch. Adam Scott kind of, booted it with some short game work around the green.
How about that iron? Cool. That one iron he hit was terrible on 15.
Yeah.
There was it had shades of like Greg Norman on 18 at Augusta.
There were some boofy.
It might be the worst iron I've ever seen Adam Scott hit.
Could be. Morikawa had one. There's some interesting, poofy balls, odd shots going on. Last bit from Scottish. Mac Hughes got a 2-stroke penalty for being late to the tee time. He started 66. He's in contention. He's late to his tee time. I haven't heard that one in a while. But he was in the 5-minute stretch that it's only a 2-shot penalty. I just thought it was a DQ, but I guess there's a grace period that's just a 2-shot penalty. I don't know how that happens.
How about the it wasn't the final group, but a pairing of all-time greats
game within
together.
The game. Yeah.
On Sunday. You don't get 2 all-timers together very often Sunday. I'm happy for you that you got to see it. We've had such a long history of these toe-to-toe great matchups. McIlroy gets the best of Manacero today.
The great Manacero. I think Manacero sort of let him off easy. It's Rory's first event back since Pinehurst. Manacero shoots, I think, 2 over in his last 3. He's like, here, you take the game this today. Roll into Trin with a little bit of pep in your step. Because that was a great game within the game. And then Mateo sort of let up on him towards the end. I get Rory's the draw. It is insane how much the tweets, the broadcast will talk about, he could eagle birdie. He's not in the event. He's not going to win the event, but they will just do it until the last very putt goes in. Well, the guy behind him could triple that. Rory, every event, it's IBF. They were just doing it nonstop today. He's not in it. He's not he's playing well. He's going to T5. But there were multiple occasions if he birdies this one, eagles the next, and then birdies the last 2, he could have a say. And they just do it with Rory. It's It's a classic if he goes out in 28 at Augusta line. They hammer that with Rory. But a great Scottish Open, nonetheless. A great Sunday morning view. I know, I'm sorry it's so late over there for the East Lothian crowd, but good for us to watch.
PJ's coming in.
Can I submit a question before we move on? Yeah. I think it's pertinent with the major coming up. Is anyone concerned about Ludvig's ability to play golf on Sunday?
He's not broken 70 on Sunday.
I was thinking about this. I didn't know that stat. Well, listen, I think
6 of his last 7 made cuts. The worst round was on Sunday.
I'm not worried. I think winning's just hard, and I think that's the thing. The one thing I would say I'm worried about is like I think we had these like really high expectations, and maybe he's more Adam Scott Sergio than super duper star. And I think those guys were stars in their own right, but like they didn't win. They were on leaderboards a lot, but didn't win a lot. And maybe that's what it is. I don't know though. I don't know, bro.
I don't know, bro.
We're gonna have to see more tournaments. He could win some. He could lose some. I don't know. Sunday's hard. Sunday's hard.
You can't win unless you're in it, right? I mean, bro, if you're not in it, you can't win at all. You know. I would just say in the modern era with more parity and condensing in talent, a Sergio Adam Scott career would be pretty great. But again,
I'm saying in the sense stuff. Like I'm saying like they're just like always there, and then you get the thing that's crazy is like I think it gets hard. It gets harder when you have struggles. Like today was bad.
Builds up. Yeah, he was
really bad. Couldn't hit a tee shot.
Yeah. What was odd was Bob wasn't really in it. Right, he was sort of the headliner to start the day, and then he kind of went away for like 2 hours, and then all of a sudden at 14, he was there again and closed. So it was great coffee golf. Go ahead.
Is Aaron Rye like one of is he going to be a Ryder Cupper? The guy's hot.
2 Gloves Rye?
Yeah.
He's good. He had to play his way into the Open. That Open field, we're going to talk about that on Wednesday. Kind of stinky. I mean, Aaron Rye not in the field is not great. I think Cam Davis is out again.
Yes.
He just won the Rocket. It's kind of...
I don't understand how the winner of the Rocket doesn't get in.
You got
like
Dan
when they
Bradbury.
have all these other qualifiers. It's like, wait, what? Did the Barbasol, did the Isco get a spot again?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think Harry Hall's wife is like 40 weeks pregnant, apparently. He's like, I was going to have to play every week because of my FedEx Cup points. And my wife is 40 weeks pregnant. I'm glad I won. So.
Did they? I couldn't watch. I was shot tracking the Isco, which was a bummer with ZB in the playoff.
Yeah.
Did they talk about ZB not being at the course?
No. I mean, I didn't. I gotta be on it. Cop to not having audio. I was making dinner. That was 7 Eastern. I was eating and making dinner on Sunday night.
See, ZB said he was halfway to Cincinnati. They had to turn around the car.
He was early, right? He posted what?
Yeah, he
63?
finished, and he didn't think he had any chance to win. And they were already driving. 64. They hit the road. They were on their way, on the way to the airport.
From Keen Trace. Wow. That happens. That happens sometimes.
He turned around. Because they showed him just getting back to the course, alleged. I saw. And like he had just enough time to hit balls. Like I don't think he had like a lot of time to get ready for the playoff. You think about like mentally, you just leave, you're heading out, you're happy about your round, made some money today. Then next thing you know, you're pulling around at an exit, turn around, heading back because you're in a playoff. What if he had missed it? What if he had gotten on a plane?
Would not be good. It's a Mac Hughes situation late to the... Yeah, I think you hear about that with the missed cut line shifting, but you don't hear it too often about playoff or chance to win. Yeah.
What would... Do they have a time limit? That they like it's not a tee time. Like what if you called and you're in the playoff and you're like I'm 10 minutes away. I need 10 minutes. Do you think they delay it 10 minutes? Do you think
I think they're there to service the players, and I think it sounds like a gray area. Maybe there's a rule that it has to start within 10 minutes of scorecards being signed or something like that. But feels like they would be like, all right, we'll give you an extra 5 minutes. Get over here. Let us know. Share your location, and we'll track you.
Hey, I got a Champions Tour question.
We already did Champions Tour minute.
I see that Mike Weir's in the field this week. He was playing
at the senior players.
Yeah, he top 10. But do you think he's just playing so he could get eyes on Ernie? A little scouting trip.
You're gonna push this. This is an annual thing. I feel like when there's a team event. Oh, Patty could be a pick. Bernard Longer should be a Ryder Cup pick.
Steve Stricker last year for or Patty and Stricker.
There was a good Miguel Angel Jimenez argument one year. I feel like 8 years ago or something. It's just it's a lot. He's not going to be in the field.
If he wins 3 more times, how can you not consider him? What if he finishes like 5th at the Open next week?
Here's the problem. President's Cup's in late September. He's got his eyes on the Schwab, the Chuck Cup, and that goes into November. Are you going to pull him out? That seems like a total distraction.
I got good news for you, Brendan.
What?
We learned this last year. The Schwab Cup can be had before the end of the season.
Stricker didn't go to any of the 3 playoff events and just walked out with his trophy.
It's a true season-long championship. Unlike the FedEx Cup.
So much Champions Tour talk. We're starting a major week. It's incredible stuff. That major week, you better fueled up with coffee. It's a high time for coffee golf. We had our Open Burundi blend. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. From Good Walk Coffee, ready to go. This morning, I was watching the Scottish. It's a late start. I mean, the next, Thursday, Friday, you can be up at 1:30 in the morning. You can be up at 4, I think is usually when the big hitters go. But load up on your coffee. Go to goodwalkcoffee.com/shotgun. Use the promo code SGS. That gets you 20% off your first time purchase. Could combine that with 10% off for subscription. So that gets you 30% off your first order. And the Open blend, we only have 200 bags for that. So I don't know how that's moving, but limited supply. It's a very light roast. If you're into light roasts here in the summer, that's the Open blend, Burundi blend. So
light roasts aren't just for summer.
I agree.
Light roasts
are a year-round deal, but it's summer now, and there's only 200 bags of it. So presumably, you get it now, you drink it now. So go to goodwalkcoffee.com/shotgun. Check out the full lineup. We've got multiple blends there. Purchasing that helps support this podcast. I went to the UPS store and shipped out the 6 items from the U.S. Open. Shipping costs were $225 to ship 6 things around the country. We kind of jammed ourselves, self-jamming on that giveaway. Nevertheless, we're going to do more giveaways this week for the Open. You got to be a subscriber, though.
I would say that the UPS store might be jamming us.
Yeah, a bunch of people messaged saying to use something called like Pirate Ship. I don't know what that is. I'm not familiar with all these new companies, but maybe that's a way to say it.
Scrivener's outfit.
It's a free ad. Yeah. Free ad for Johannes Veerman and Scrivener and the rest. All right. So that we'll have more giveaways, but you got to be a subscriber to one of the Good Walk blends, bunch of Open merch and Pro Shop gift credit. So moving on, the women's major, Ayaka Furue wins the Evian championship. You can debate whether that's a major or not, but she goes birdie, birdie, birdie on 14 through 16, par 17 as their playing partners kind of stumble coming in, Lauren Coughlin and Stephanie Kiriakou. And then Eagles 18 to clip Kiriakou by a shot.
Wow.
Kind of an incredible finish. 5 under through her last 5. Really didn't think she had much of a chance standing there on the 14th tee, and then puts it into overdrive. Her first major championship. Congrats to Ayaka Furue. It seems like the LPGA is kind of going away for a while. They're going to come back in Paris, do the Scottish stuff in August after Paris, but a good finish.
They should move this tournament back a couple weeks.
Why? closer to Paris.
In Paris.
Yeah, I think it seems like a lot of the women are gonna stay in Europe, but Patty Tavatanakit was involved. She can only play in a dome. It seems like she contended, won at Mission Hills, and hasn't done a lot since then. But a good tight finish early. I watched. There was so much golf. 5 a.m. to like that ISCO playoff ended at 8:30. It's just golf all day.
That ISCO, the Barbasol, that finish always trips guys up. I was watching. Yeah. I saw that ZB played this round. I'm looking at it. I'm like getting on a plane. I'm like, oh, he's not going to win though. There's no way he's going to win. Last year, remember, everybody was, who was it? David Cohn's son, Trevor Cohn.
Yeah, Trevor Cohn. They kind of handed it to the Candyman won it like in spite of himself, in spite of his shots. It seemed like
this year was kind of the same thing. Like nobody could get it done down the stretch. Maybe the tour's brass, the top TPC brass, they should be going and studying Keen Trace, what they do out there. There's something about that closing stretch that maybe they could take to the Travelers. They could take it up to TPC River Highlands. They could have a new TPC. They could have a TPC Keen Trace model.
God, Nance had to do an ad read for Twin Cities. He tried to make it sound good. That's just
what did he say?
I feel bad. It's like the magnificent or immaculate TPC Twin Cities. We will be there in 2 weeks for the next PGA Tour. But yeah, I don't know if he calls that one. You might take a break.
No, it's the Catalan zone.
I would think so. All right, that's enough on the Barbasol. LIV Valderrama, the Los Fireballs win the individual. Sergio wins the individual, and they win the team. Anirban Lahiri, you remember when Anirban was like had a cup of coffee at the top of the players leaderboard, and it was like he has contender, pretender, immediate pretender, and he sort of, he kind of crapped himself. He missed a 3-footer and brought Sergio into it from a 7-shot deficit, wins in a playoff against Bond. The Crushers fall in a playoff against the Fireballs. I think it was Answer and Puig who won the team.
It's ridiculous saying the Crushers fell to the Fireballs.
I mean, did you see Sergio's quote? Big day for Spain. Yeah. Said, I might be wrong, but I think that if the soccer team wins tonight, and they did, it could probably be one of the biggest days in the history of Spanish sports. I would say Alcaraz winning the Wimbledon, us winning both individually and as a team, and then the national team winning the Euro Cup. It would be amazing to have all those 4 things happen in the same day. It would be amazing. That's like when a guy is trying to like throw himself into a big 3, just kind of like crowbar himself in, like, oh, well, yeah, like me, I'm with KG Paul, just some guy who's trying to, add himself, a Dylan Brooks type, trying to be like, oh, I'm in the big 3 of Memphis or something like that. That's what that's about. It is a storybook deal. It's great. Valderrama, the Fireballs, and Sergio all winning. It was legitimately cool story. It's just Bond just misses the hole on a 3-footer. Arlo had a great call. Like, he just got kicked in the nuts, screams out in pain. But it was good, not bad LIV theater. And I don't know that it's on the level of Wimbledon final or the Euro final, but good theater and good for the home crowd of Valderrama. Sergio's favorite course.
You missed that putt. It's very hard to have a chance at winning the playoff.
Coming back. Yeah. I think that covers. American Century Championship. Marty Fish wins the American Century Championship. He's a legit player. Notable for that is A-Rod. Apparently, it was DFL. There's a clip of him shaking one off a tree and like coming across his face. And his sunglasses popped off. I started thinking to myself, I think no one has embarrassed himself publicly with either disclosures about his personal life or play or just awkward situations than Alex Rodriguez. Unintentionally, he's embarrassed himself, and he clearly doesn't care too much. He's got self-confidence or no shame or some combination of both. But that was a tough clip. He's just out there hacking away in DFL at the American Century Championship.
He wasn't DFL.
Oh, well, he was when he was knocking his glasses off.
Dylan Dreyer finishes dead last.
Who's that, an actor or something?
Okay, your guy, Baker Mayfield didn't fare well.
Yeah.
God, Joe Theismann's playing in this thing.
It's a hot ticket. There's like a long waiting list. Everybody wants to get in that event.
I remember listening to a pod that Alex Caruso was on Rosillo, and he was like, "I can't get into that. I'm not famous enough."
But then they have like some
Gary Sheffield. God, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite athlete in this field? Do you have it up?
I haven't. No, I don't have it up. Larry the Cable Guy. Is he in the field?
No, favorite athlete. God, Carson Daly, 33rd.
Maybe one of the Kelseys.
How did Robbie Gould get in this thing?
I'm telling you, it's odd. It's an odd combination of, I think they've had to remove some people for bad behavior. Like it's kind of a drunk fest in Tahoe. But there's some folks that maybe some former NFLers who get after it out there at Tahoe. I think some people have not been asked back. But otherwise, it's very tough to get into. Annika, amazingly, the greatest women's player of all time, finished well against a bunch of celebrities. So that's good. I don't have a favorite.
I think my favorite athletes, David Wells.
Oh, God. Matt Ryan, for me, BC zone.
David Wells, Jerome Bettis, the Bus. Would love to see. I mean, there's just great names in this. But
how does Kyle Lowry make this field?
I mean, he's one of the greatest floppers ever.
Modern.
So that gets you in?
Modern basketball player. It's an odd mix.
I mean, Kyle Lowry was a fringe All NBA guard, all like a multi all-star.
He was an all-star, but compare him to Albert Pujols.
Well, I mean, Robbie Gould's in this thing. Robbie Gould. We can't be pointing fingers at Kyle Lowry.
Dylan Dreyer is an American. She is a meteorologist for NBC News.
Oh,
that's bad. We don't need to put her on blast.
Who's the Miz?
Let's make fun of A-Rod. The Miz?
Yeah.
Who is the Miz?
Yeah.
Another boy from Cleveland, wrestling phenom. Mike the Miz, who was in the real world back when we were kids, and then he became a wrestler. You would know him if you saw him.
Is Ray Romano still a celebrity?
He is for these kinds of things. I think they just eat his shit up. During the pandemic, I had to ghostwrite jokes for Ray Romano for when he was hosting the Pebble Beach the Pebble Beach Pro-Am thing. Somebody asked me to ghostwrite. Apparently he liked them. So I don't know if that's more a compliment or a dig. But yeah, I wrote some lines about golf related lines. I think people love him at these kinds of things. But your question is a fair one. So that's your American Century Championship Minute. We got to shout out the Ohio Am. Former Friday contributor Andrew Bailey goes back to back. Clips one of your Illini who kind of stumbled in coming into the gates, and Bailey wins it. The bridesmaid you, as Joseph Lamagna called it in our Slack, got out of the way, and Bailey won it back to back. Former Friday Golf contributor. I didn't say it. Lamagna said it in Slack.
It's unbelievable accomplishment for someone who has a legitimate job. And
we could start doing State Am Minute here at the end of each show. News. Tiger's at Troon, plays a full round, much to Colin Montgomerie's chagrin. Tiger got a full practice round in at Troon. I think he played all 18 on Sunday. Monty had some takes. I think it was the Times of London. He's over in Akron. He let it go and just was going to be a pinata for it all weekend. I hope people remember Tiger as Tiger was, the passion and the charismatic aura around him. There's none of that now. At Pinehurst, he did not seem to enjoy a single shot. And you think, what the hell is he doing? He's coming to Troon and he won't enjoy it there either. Aren't we there? So then they ask him, is he past the point of should he stop playing? He goes, aren't we there? I'd have thought we were past there. There's a time for all sportsmen to say goodbye, but it's very difficult to tell Tiger it's time to go. Obviously, he still feels he can win. We are more realistic about that. So these guys talk about current players only know Tiger Woods missing the cut, and he's so much better than that. He's the best we've ever seen. So Monty got roundly, ratioed and excoriated for this. I kind of didn't have that much of a problem with it. I think towards the end, this is someone who saw Tiger at his best, got beat by Tiger at his best a lot. There's someone who is wistful, nostalgic, speaking from a place of, I think, sort of praise. And quite honestly, like, we don't all need to pretend like Tiger should be a favorite at Troon. It's been painful to watch him, and we need to be less. This goes into the Smiley thing, quite honestly. Smiley criticizing Harry. I thought everybody in that handled it great. Rory handled it well. Obviously took exception to it, but said, I love Smiley. That's kind of Smiley's job. And I don't want him just fluffing players and fluffing the caddies. And he might miss the mark. He might be off. He might have a take that's too hot or that's wrong. But I would like him to bring a little flavor like that. And I expect Rory or whoever the subject is to kind of not be down with it. And I thought everybody handled it well. We just can't have robots fluffing stuff all the time. And I think Monty's comments are kind of sensible, but that's not kind of how it's going to play on social media. So what did you make of his thoughts?
I mean, I think it's up to the player to decide when
totally.
They're done.
Yes, I don't think anyone should tell Tiger he has to retire. That's not the way. But assessing him from the outside, like a Monty. So
yeah, I think assessing. I think we've you see is there aren't many of these left. This could be the last one too.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's not kind of crazy. It's what happens. But
I mean, we thought he was never going to play golf again a couple years ago. So
yeah,
we got a few more events with him in it, and it's not going to be like the Tiger that. I mean, it's amazing he's playing golf and walking 18 holes.
Yeah,
that itself is such a huge accomplishment with the injuries and everything.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's impossible. It's impossible for him to contend and have fun. He doesn't play golf. He doesn't play tournament golf. You're not going to just show up and win a major. That's just not the way it works.
So what are his expectations? So I don't know. I think Monty was off in some respects, but the reaction was always going to be kind of fierce, like sharks.
You're telling me that Twitter didn't react well to something?
Just everybody. Yeah, media people. He's been a punching bag for a long time. I just didn't think it was that hot a take. And I appreciate players maybe saying something different while respecting Tiger. So, all right, I think that does it. We will be on Tiger Watch come Thursday. We'll have the dailies this week. Check out Good Walk Coffee. Check out Club TFE. These are ways to support our work, especially in these long weeks, these long slogs. So we'll be on Tuesday night, maybe probably do the preview episode with some of our favorite tee times. There will be options for worst, I think, looking at this field. There will be multiple options for worst. But we're back at Troon and final men's major of the year. Can't wait. Talk to you then.